Right, let's take a closer look at the lead now. The Makhanda High Court has given giant oil company Shell the green light to conduct seismic survey on the Wild Coast. Now, it dismissed an urgent interdict application by lawyers and activists on Friday morning, and Shell seeks to gather information about the geological structures of the Wild Coast. But activists and lawyers from the Border Deep Sea Angling Association, the Ski Boat Club, Human Rights Law Agency, Natural Justice, as well as the environmental movement Greenpeace, sought an urgent interim interdict to stop Shell from blasting the Eastern Cape seabed. Activists say they will continue to protest against the decision. And joining us now to discuss this are two activists, Nonhle Mbutuma, spokesperson of the Amadiba Crisis Community, and the spokesperson Puven Mudli. He's the director of Nature Justice. A very good morning to the both of you. Let's start with you, Puven. First of all, what do you make of this ruling, and where to from here?
Yeah, thanks so much. It's been quite a devastating ruling for a number of reasons. The reason we went for an urgent interdict was so that, we would have time to go to court to show what harm and destruction would happen. The judge essentially said the process, wasn't followed properly. There wasn't proper kind of engagement with affected parties and communities, but also, in the end, ordered costs against us, which means a massive company like Shell, we would have to pay their legal fees, which we think is completely unfair. So, there's been another case that's been launched, and also we're looking at appealing this judgment because, we feel like, based on the merits of the case, Shell can't go on a 2014 license, given that, they require proper environmental authorizations, and that hasn't happened.
Nonhle, I can see that there's a crowd gathering behind you. Can you just give us a sense of where you are and why it is that you are there before we continue with the conversation on your end? We seem to be struggling with audio. Nonhle, if you are muted, please do unmute yourself. We seem to be struggling to hear you. There you go.
Okay, sorry.
Go for it.
Oh, do you hear me now?
We do, yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Today we organized communities against the survey drilling in blasting in our ocean. That is why you hear the singing, the protest. We are in Kolobeni right now, where we're going to march along our beaches to voice out our voices to make sure that the government heard that the people that are living along the coast, and they have a right to decide and they have a right to choose. And ocean is our life. Our ocean is our livelihood. Now we cannot compromise our livelihood just for the profit. That is why today we are just here on the beach.
We know that it's for profit, Puven, because Shell recently pulled out of a combo oil field project, and they said that it wasn't economically viable for them. That also had a lot of, it was subject to a lot of protests from climate campaigners. In this regard, Shell have essentially said that they have done seismic surveying before, and they've gone to great lengths to prevent any damage to wildlife. What do you make of that? And is that just them trying to make sure that this project goes ahead?
Our sense, based on the science and based on many experts that we've spoken to, and based on the research that has been done, is that certainly these seismic surveys happening in places across the world. The fact that Shell says there've been 30 done and another 300, we're just coming from the Glasgow conference where government leaders are committed to getting to net zero, and so we don't.
just seem to be having a little bit of issues here. So, Nonhle, here's the thing: Zoom or technology, unfortunately, will govern how we conduct this interview. When you're not speaking, I'm going to have to ask you to mute yourself because the singing in the background does come through, and we then can't hear what Puven says. So, I'm really sorry for giving you that admin, but unfortunately, that's the case now. Puven, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. No, I was just saying that, Shell was, there have been about 30 surveys done in South Africa and another 300 across. We've got, experts that have done a lot of work on this, and we want to bring those experts to court to show, what the impact on the ecosystem is, both in terms of the oceans, but what the impact then is in terms of people's lives and livelihoods as well. And, the fact that we're just coming from a Glasgow conference where, leaders talk a lot about we have to get to net zero, that we're in a crisis, etc. But, that doesn't match when one comes back home to see that all of these oil and gas licenses, are being dished out, to see our beaches being dug up by mining companies. That's not how one leads a country, given that we are in a planetary crisis.
But Puven, the court found that the applicants failed to prove apprehension of irreparable damage or irreparable harm without an interdict against Shell, and also then ruled in Shell's favor to prevent financial cost delay on their part. What do you make of that ruling?
Yeah, our sense is, and we're definitely, thinking of appealing this. Our sense is that, the judgment in favor of Shell, there were many different aspects, that we had argued, that the judge in many ways agreed on, as I said, like the consultation and so on. But in terms of the actual expert evidence, and that's kind of the angle, we were going for. This was urgent, but the idea was to have a proper hearing after that, and all we wanted was a proper hearing. And, our feeling is if we do bring in the experts, if we do look at the damage Shell has caused in Nigeria and other countries, but also in May this year, Shell lost a case in the Netherlands where the people brought Shell to court, and the court ordered Shell to reduce its emissions by 45% by 2030. So it's hard to understand again, based on the damage to the environment, based on what the experts are saying, and based on the science that, you can't say you're going to be reducing emissions when in fact you've got these longer term projects that are going to massively increase emissions.
Nonhle, you can unmute yourself now. Puven speaks about a proper hearing. This was done on an urgent basis, and as a result, the ruling then was given for that. Shell wanted to start the seismic surveying on Wednesday already. They're planning to go ahead as soon as possible. What are the next steps if you are going to prevent them from continuing this project?
What we're going to do is that as the first interdict is already been dismissed by court, and we understand that it was just a matter of time. Time was very short. It was not enough time for them all to put everything. But right now, we've already submit the second papers, the second interdict to a high court in Grahamstown. Where also we, as communities that are directly affected, to say that government of South Africa, together with DMRE, they cannot grant the license for Shell to go ahead without environmental authorization. That is a go ahead, and without communities to be consulted. And the court hearing is on the 14th of December this year.
I mean, the 14th of December is just 9 days away, but Puven, Shell, as I mentioned, want to start this week already with this project. So what happens then?
No, our South African laws are very clear and are very good to protect the environment. Now, even if the government, how strong they are, they cannot go ahead without environmental authorization, because it tells that the environmental impact, nobody is clear how we're going to know how the impact is going to be happening on the ocean. But the only way to find out is the environmental authorization from Department of Minerals and Energy. It tells that the South African are not safe if the government can do that, because it's unlawful to continue without environmental authorization. Right now, as our papers are in court, for sure they've been told that these are the requirements that we need from them before they do anything.
Okay, so that seems like then there will be another delay then for Shell in that case. Thank you so much for joining us on Weekend Report. That was activist Nonhle Mbutuma. She's a spokesperson of Amadiba Crisis Committee, as well as Pruven Moodley, who is the director of Nature Justice. And that's where we end that conversation for now.